the type of sihr that the Qur'an talks about is the sihr that deals with the jinn. That is the type of sihr that of course has been prohibited. So, if we understand the reality of the jinn, we will understand the reality of magic. Because the magician has no power. The magician pretends that he has power. In reality, the power of the magician is nothing other than the physical, natural services of the jinn. There's no supernatural, there's no mystical, there's no semi-divine. The jinns are not all powerful. Rather, Allah has given them strengths that He has not given us. And He has given us strengths that He has not given them. So when the magician utilizes the strengths of the jinn, we don't have to be astonished and amazed and say, oh my God, how did he do that? Rather, imagine if we saw the man galloping on a horse, right? Would we say, MashaAllah, how did he do? We know a horse goes 50 miles an hour. What's the big deal? Correct? Now imagine if we couldn't see the horse and we saw the man going that fast. We would be pretty freaked out, right? But once we understand that it's just the jinn doing it, nothing supernatural. For the jinn, it's totally natural. And so if we understand the physical and psychological nature of the jinn, we will understand magic completely. And wallahi, we will not fear it anymore. So therefore, what is magic? Magic is the magician getting the jinn to do his tricks. What are the tricks? What would the jinn have what would the magician have the jinn do? So, whatever the magician is paid to do. Whatever the magician is paid. Somebody will come to the magician and say, I want this man's business to go bad. I want their marriage to fail. I want them to have no children. This is the common reasons, right? And so, the magician will get the jinn to go and do things. What will the jinn do? Whatever the jinn does is something we now understand is physical and natural for the jinn. All sihr is basically jinns doing their tricks. Now, the next question. We understand then what sihr is, and that's the jinn doing its tricks. But the question is, why would he do it? And this is where I'm going to destroy one of the most incorrect myths about black magic that is absolutely dead wrong. And we need to get this out of our minds completely. The myth is that the magician controls the jinn. In reality, rather, listen to this, the magician is a servant of the jinn. And the magician is a worshipper and humbling himself in front of the jinn. The jinn is Lord and Master of the magician. The other way around. Now, of course, the magician doesn't want to tell you that. And that's why he portrays himself as the master. Therefore, whatever the jinn does, it does because it wants to do it. Here's a key point we believe. No one could control the jinn other than Sulaiman. To claim that a sahir controls the jinn, you are saying the sahir has the same power that Sulaiman did. So, why then would the jinn do something for the magician? Sihr is a business transaction, literally. And the magician gives something to the jinn, and the jinn gives something back to the magician. And the both of them need each other, but the more powerful of the two is the jinn and not the magician. So, what was the fundamental problem of Iblis when Adam was created? I am better than you. Ana khayrun minhu. So, the jinn feel inferior. We can quite literally say, sihr comes from an inferiority complex of the jinn. So what do they want from man? Your devotion, your dedication, your worship, your subservience. You will literally prostrate yourself and bend over backwards and do whatever the jinn wants and humiliate yourself to please the jinn. And of course, that's one reason the jinn do it. And of course, another reason is misguidance. Because the jinns know when you're going to worship them other than Allah, well then, takes you out of Islam. Khalas, they won. right? Because one of the goals of the jinn is what? Misguidance. They want to misguide you. So, the jinn tells the magician, you want my services? This is my price. So, what does the magician do? Sacrilegious things. Things that are just disgusting. Evil. Blood sacrifice. You know, even in children's books, so what is the magic recipe made of? What is something that you put in the magic potion, right? Toads. The grass says toads. Bones. Okay? The eye of what? Gnat, and the leg of this and that. Now, and you know, we laugh at this. There's an element of truth here. Meaning what? Imagine if you have a list as ridiculous as this. Get the bone of a dog. Get the eye of a this. Get that. And you have to go around for days getting these things. How do you think the jinn's going to feel watching you in humiliation? This is giving the jinn what? A boost, a thrill. Right? So in reality, who's more in charge? The jinn is more in charge, not the magician. In reality, the magician needs the jinn more than the jinn needs the magician. So the magician will literally sell himself to the jinn. And when you sell yourself to the jinn, you cannot be a worshipper of Allah. And that is why it is very common for the magician to actually do acts of blatant kufr. Things that are absolutely disgusting. Things that involve, and I don't want to even mention it inside the masjid, but it involves dishonoring some of the signs of Allah. It involves najas. It involves humiliating his own body. It involves sacrilegious, vulgar, profane. And I don't want to give examples, but wallahi, the worst of the worst things that even a person who's bad will not do what the magician does, right? You will have thieves, you will have murderers, they have a limit of how they maintain themselves. Magicians have no depths of depravity that they're not going to go down to. I swear by Allah, they do worse than that. And I speak from my own experiences with doing exorcisms and whatnot, that they do much worse than this. And anything you can think of, they do worse than this. And why do they do it? Because again, from the perspective of the jinn, it's getting a thrill looking at you, humiliating yourself, putting najas on yourself, eating this, doing that, going there. Look at the thrill that you're giving the jinn, right? And so, in return, if the jinn just has to go and slap somebody and come back, more than happy to do it, so that you have to grovel even more. Right? Correct? Right? And this is the reality of what sihr is. That the magician is basically giving this jinn some boost and misguiding himself by becoming away from Islam or worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Literally, I mean, they say that you sell yourself to the devil. That's literally what you do. Literally. It's not even a figure of speech here.